Guys, I've decided it's not an action cam. Like, I'm sorry, but it just doesn't feel right calling this thing an action camera. It should be called your next family video camera. Hey everyone, my name is Zach. I'm a photographer and videographer, but more important than that, I am a husband and a father, and this is the Insta360 Go 3S. And this is an awesome little camera I just picked up for a video shoot that I've got coming up. And when it's in this action pod, it feels like an action camera. But the thing is, when you take this little guy out of the action pod, it feels like something completely different. Like, this just doesn't feel like an action camera to me. It feels like the perfect little POV camera, and I love it. And so I want to talk to you today all about this camera and whether or not I think this is a good camera for families to use as a family video camera. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. I'm glad that you have found it. I would love it if you subscribe to the channel. We talk all things about documenting family life and different cameras and things like that. So if you want to hear more about that, check out some of the other videos, stick around. And if you enjoy this video, please do give it a like. That really does help. So let's jump into the Insta360 Go 3S. Okay, so let's talk about specs real quick. The big thing about this camera, the thing that everyone's going crazy over, is the 4K image. Getting 4K out of a tiny little camera like this is awesome. But there's some pretty cool other things about it too. It's got a 2.8 aperture. It's got a 16mm field of view at its widest. It does photos of 4,000 by 2250, I believe, and you can do both JPEG and DNG. So you do have a little bit of a raw option to be able to edit your photos. I haven't tried out photos on this yet. I definitely want to try those out. When it comes to video, like I said, it does shoot 4K. It also does 2K and 1080. 4K goes all the way up from 24 frames per second to 30 frames per second. Same with 2K. No, 2K can go up to 50 frames per second, and 1080p can go up to 50 frames per second. I do wish it went up to 60 frames per second. I don't really understand why it doesn't. So for me, I'll probably just typically always use this at 24 frames per second. As for storage, this camera comes in two options. You can either get 64 gigabytes or 128 gigabytes, and it's internal storage. You can't put an SD card in here, but there is a cool feature where you can get this little file transfer device to get files off of here so you can reuse space, which is nice. I've got the 64 gigabyte one, and I really hope that's enough. Battery life on this little guy isn't horrible, but it's also not amazing in my opinion as a family video camera. On its own, the Go 3S can do 38 minutes usage, and then when you put it into the action pod, you've got 140 minutes. So that's not horrible, but if you're wanting to use this guy all on your own, you go through 38 minutes, you gotta pop it back in there to charge it up. Now, let's separate the two. So you've got the Go 3S, which is this little guy, and then you've got the action pod. And the action pod is a really cool feature to this camera. So basically, this is the housing device for the camera, right? You throw it in here to let it charge. You can mount this whole action pod to the mounts provided and use it like that. But the thing is, it's not just the housing unit. It's got some other cool features as well, starting with the flip up screen. So now you flip the screen up and you can vlog with it. And so you just got your own little vlogging camera right here that you can walk around with. You can throw on the mounts, you can throw onto a pole and able to see yourself, which is really cool. But it does some other fun stuff as well. Starting with, when you take the camera out, it becomes a monitor for your camera. You can still be connected. I can see what's going on. I can look at the screen, I can point it around. And that to me is really cool. Actually, this is one of the big reasons why I bought this. I need it for a video shoot coming up for my production company. And I need to be able to monitor while putting this high up. So that's really cool. But throw it back in the pod and you've got an action camera. And then to this action pod, having the action pod allows for really easy access to settings. You can access all the settings on the touchscreen on the back, which is great. Now, the layout to this is very similar to what you might find on the DJI action cameras. You pull down and you get access to a bunch of different settings. You go from the left and you get access to all your video footage. You pull up from the bottom and you can change your resolution, your frame rates, and your stability. And then you pull from the side and you can get into all your different camera settings. There are a lot of really cool, unique features about this camera that I'm really excited to play with and already have been enjoying. Starting with the first thing I wanted to try out was what they call interval filming. So basically that's where you can set this up to film every 5 minutes or so. So every 5 minutes, the camera will turn on and film for 30 seconds. You can set this to a ton of different options. You can film for a minute, you can film for longer, you can have it, you know, go every minute up to every hour. So it's basically, you set it up the way you want it, and then you just pop it on whatever mount you want, and then it will turn itself on and start filming for however long you've set it to do it. And it'll keep doing this until you stop it, or the battery dies, or it runs out of space. And the idea behind this is that if you want to film something, but you don't want to be filming for continuously, like an hour and a half long, but you want to capture footage regularly, this will do it for you. What I think is cool about this is I think that if you are someone who wants to be filming your family, but you're not necessarily sure how to do it or where to start, I think this little feature can be a nice thing to get you into it. And I'll have a whole nother video talking about the interval filming, how to use it, and how to use it best for family filming. But I think this is a really cool feature. We tried this out the other night, and I have some pluses and some negatives with it, but I think it's a really cool feature that will be really handy on this camera. The next feature I really like about this camera is the free frame mode. So this camera has a ton of different modes you can do, but one of them that I think is really cool is what they're calling free frame. And basically that's where it uses the whole sensor of the camera, and it'll film horizontally as well as vertically. So when you look at it, you kind of get like this weird boxy sort of look in screen. But what's cool about it is that when you go to edit your footage later, you can choose what format you want to use. You can choose, you know, if you want to use the vertical or if you want to use horizontal. And I think that's really cool. It gives you some options because sometimes you're out filming and you're like, ooh, this would be really cool to put vertically. And now you have the option to do that. You don't necessarily have to make that decision while you're filming. You can make that decision when you're editing. The downside is it does require a little bit more editing. So if you're someone who's just wanting easy, quick, maybe that's not the mode for you, but I think it's a really cool mode and it's probably what I'll be doing most of my filming in. Then we come to the mounting options. Now, what is not unique about this camera is the magnetic clamp mounting, which is something that DJI have and is amazing, and I love it, and I think it's the only way to mount action cameras. You've got really cool magnetic quick mounting on this, which works for both the Action Pod as well as the Go 3S. So there we go. But when you buy this in the box, it comes with 3 mounts. This is one. This is another one, and this one only works with the Go 3S. You can't put this into it, but this is a hat clip mount. So basically you attach this to your hat, like this, if you're wearing it backwards, or out here if you're wearing it forwards, whatever. And then you can just use kind of like a, you know, POV shot, looking around, all this. My wife hates this. I put this on, she's like, you're not wearing it like that, are you? I'm like, well, I'm gonna try. She said no. So I did it. But that's a really cool option, as well as this little magnetic pendant option. So basically you've got this magnetic pendant. So basically you've got this magnetic pendant necklace. You've got this magnetic necklace and it just clips right to it. The idea being that you would throw this on, adjust it, throw it under your shirt, and then just clip it on. And now it's just attached. I can move around. It's not really going anywhere. Really nice. This has been the way that I've been using it mostly. And what I like about this is it's really easy for kids as well. I threw it on my daughter. She had a lot of fun with it. We had a kids takeover at our church on Sunday. And so I threw this on a couple of different kids as they were serving in different areas, and they all loved it. They thought it was the coolest thing ever. So that's a really fun feature to be able to utilize. And I think it's super unique as well. And that leads me to the next point, which I think is the coolest thing about this little camera, is the POV feeling of this camera. What I love about this and what I feel like is so unique is just you get a real like perspective of what I'm looking at through this camera, right? Like if I have this on here, you're seeing my hands moving, you're seeing what's in front of me, you're seeing what I'm seeing. If I have it on my hat, you're literally seeing like where my head's going, everything like that. And I love that. Like, I think it's so cool. And while yes, you can do that on other action cameras, I think this really shines because it's so tiny. It doesn't feel like I've got a camera on me. Like, I forget that I've got a camera on me. I just started recording accidentally. And then a couple of other features that I think are really cool is the voice commands on this camera are really good. So you can start, stop, and turn off the camera just by speaking to it, which is really nice when you've got it hanging here and you can just be like, you know, start recording, and it'll start recording for you. Also, you can connect this to your Find My if you're an Apple user, so that if you lose this, you can just go into your Find My app and find this, which I think is really, really cool. This is a tiny little camera that I know I'll be putting, you know, on my kids from time to time. And so there is a little bit of a worry of what happens if they just take it off and put it somewhere and I don't know where it is. So that's a really great feature to have on there. And then finally, what I think makes this a really phenomenal family video camera is the editing. So the Insta360 app has some really easy AI editing for your footage. You basically can, you know, maybe use the interval filming or just normal filming or whatever, film what you want to film, and then pull those into the app and let the app do the work of editing together a video for you. It, you know, maybe feels a little bit cheesy of a video, but who cares? Like, it's an easy, quick, simple way to edit videos together and have just a quick little video of your day or whatever it might be that you're doing. And I love that. Like, I think that gives just such easy access for families to create videos and to create memories. And so I think that right there is huge for why this is a great video camera for families. So if you're a family and you're looking for a family video camera, I think some of the reasons that make this a great choice are, one, like, it's a fun camera, and being in this little action pod and then being able to pull it out, you kind of get the best of both worlds. You get like a fun little POV camera as well as getting a great action camera. You know, you can use this for, I don't know, mountain biking and jet skiing and all those fun things, right? But you can also just pull it out, stick it on your kid, and just use it on the swing set or as they're running around the house, and, you know, just stuff like that. Like, it's a cool little camera that is so fun, and honestly, every kid I've shown it, like, gets super excited about it and thinks it's the coolest thing ever. Like, I literally had kids fighting over who got to wear it. But then I think too, the interval filming paired with the easy AI editing, I think that is just going to be a phenomenal little tool for families who want to get into filming everyday life and making videos about it, but don't know how or don't know where to start. I think it's basically saying like, hey, we know you want to do these things. We're here to help you. And so to me, I think that's so cool that a family can literally just turn on interval filming and then pull their footage into the app and let the app do the work in making a video. And it's like, you really didn't have to do all that much work. Like, all you had to do was put it on yourself, do a few clicks on your phone, and boom, you've got it. I think that's just such an easy entry point into, you know, making more family memories and creating more family videos and things like that. And so to me, like, I'm so excited to use this as my family video camera. So there you have it, the Go 3S. And I will do a workflow video like I've done with some other cameras to show you both how I film on it as well as how I edit the footage. That'll be coming up in the future. But if you like this video, please do hit that like button, subscribe if you're not already. And I'm so glad that you stuck around to watch this video. We'll see you in the next one.